Wow. I guess it's Abraham's time to receive gifts. There's a little gift for you from Whole Foods.
How nice is that? Don't bring gifts. Thank you for this one. Don't bring gifts. Thank you for this one.
You're welcome.
Don't bring gifts. Thank you for this one.
It happened.
Don't bring gifts.
I'm so glad to be here. This is an amazing experience.
What's on your mind?
I've been listening to this entire event, and the one thing that comes to mind is how do we keep ourselves in a place where we're not focusing always on the manifestation? Because that gets a little tricky, for me at least.
You get tired of the gap. You get tired of the elevator door not opening soon enough. You give up on asking for something that you never really wanted. You didn't say, I'm going to go forth and I'm going to learn it and I'm just going to have instant manifestation. Thought, bam, thought, bam, thought, bam. That was not your intention. You said, I'll go forth and I'll define and then I'll align and then I'll receive and then I'll experience the deliciousness of watching it come together. I will mold the clay with my own hands in my own mind for the pleasure of it. You came for the pleasure of it. And so this is the reason that we begin with these two strong statements. You can't get it wrong and you never get it done. And the reason that you can't get it wrong is because it's never done. But there's a bigger way of understanding that, and that is the eternal unfolding means that moment by moment by moment by moment by moment, you can be having a wonderful life experience. When you think about it, if you have decided that you're going to calibrate yourself for what's coming in the day, and in the moment of the calibration, you're taking pleasure. And then as the day unfolds, you're taking more pleasure. So you just go from calibration to the result of your calibration, to calibration to the result of your calibration, to calibration to the result of your calibration. In a while, you get into such a rhythm and you feel such profound blessedness that now you begin to live the way you intended when you decided to come here to begin with. You didn't come to fix broken things. You came to create. You're like a creator in a studio with endless opportunities to gather the subject matter and the materials for the creation of anything. And why? Because it is pleasing to you. A creator must create, and a creator who creates by default is not satisfied, but a creator who creates deliberately is just endless joyous experience, which is who you are. You got to know that you come into these physical bodies and you explore and you learn and you ask and you launch rockets into your vortex and you do some variations of that, and then you get on your gurney and you croak. Is that like a sleigh? And you reemerge into non-physical. And in the moment of your reemergence, you leave behind all burdens, all sacrifices, all doubts, all fears, all hatred, all things that don't match who you are. It's just pure you who reemerges into non-physical. That's who you are. And then you come back into physical experience again. From that vantage point, can you imagine what your attitude must be when you decide to come again? Can you think about what kinds of things you're saying? You're saying, oh good, I get to explore, I get to decide, I get to gather new materials, I get to gather new information, I get to be new, I get to find new things to, yes, 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 yes. Not one of you is saying, clean it all up and then I'll go. Get the bugs all worked out of it and then I'll come, because you don't feel lazy because nothing is ever pushing against you from that vantage point. You feel invigorated and renewed and eager and ready and willing, you see. And so now you're here in this physical body, as you're now acclimating and calibrating yourself to who you really are. You're like reborn into that feeling that you had when you decided to come. And it's for the pleasure of it. We like to say, oh, the awesome power of non-resisted thought, because when you allow yourself calibrations to pure positive energy and there's no resistance in your vibration, It is powerful because people who are watching you can't figure it out. How does that go so well for you? How does that happen? Esther has a new house, which means she has an insurance policy because they insisted, and she doesn't care. She has a lot of insurance policies because it's sort of required. But she needed a landline before the alarm system could be in place, and the alarm system had to be in place before she could get the certificate to give to the insurance company. And she just hadn't had time. She's been everywhere and everywhere and everywhere. And so she thought, well, things are always working out for me. Things are always working out for me. So then this nice man who's programming her house and making the lights work and so forth, she hears him on the phone with the alarm company. And he said these words, "This is the nicest lady I've ever met." And Esther's thinking, I should be recording this. She liked hearing it. And then he said, what we really need is the certificate. But I don't yet have the landline because Spectrum is holding it up, and I don't yet have the alarm activated. But what I really need is the certificate. Oh, thanks, that'll be good. And the man sent the certificate. Don't tell anyone. But he hung up the phone and he said, wow, that was easy. That was easy. That's not how it is usually going, but that was easy. And we want you to understand that everything should be that easy. What you want should come right to you. And you say, oh, it shouldn't come because I wasn't born into a wealthy family. Oh, it shouldn't come. I don't have any inheritance. Oh, it shouldn't come. I don't have any strong skill set that I can sell for a lot of money. Abundance should not come to me. And we say, what in this equation causes you to pick out the bogus thought process that says, I have to justify this thing I want through this and this and this and this? If there is one thing that we could help you do today, if you could stop feeling the need to justify the well-being that comes through the framework that others have assigned, and you could just open your direct route between you and Source and say, I desire this, and Source is saying to you, you deserve this, then all things that you want would flow to you with such ease. We also want you to understand that you just didn't come for the alarm certificate. Esther came for the pleasure of that relationship. She came for the pleasure of overhearing that phone call. She came for all the things that came before that even came. She came for the confirmation of the ease of this and the ease of this and the ease of this. You want continual confirmation of the blessedness that is you. That's what you want. Continual confirmation of the worthiness that is you. But you got to calibrate to it. And you can't feel guilty, and you can't feel ugly, and you can't feel mean, and you can't feel disadvantaged, and you can't feel taken advantage of, and calibrate to those blessings that are yours to receive. You got to let go of this burdensome now with all of its tentacles into things that you remember, and just stand fresh in the world, just you and Source energy and your vortex that is full of things that you've already picked out for yourself. And then on a regular basis say, I think I'd like some of that and that and that and that and that today. I think I'll calibrate to some of that. And then your inner being says, we hear you, we're on it, and you're in a good mood, so watch for it. That's how it works. It's not different from that. That's how it works. So there are some premises that you have to sort of give up on. You have to give up on the premise that you're unworthy here to prove worthiness. Where do you get this stuff? You notice no matter how worthy you try to be, it's never worthy enough. The good stuff just keeps holding itself apart because those aren't the rules of the game. The rules of the game are, you're good, what do you want? Here it is. Those are the rules of the game. And you say, well, I learned some other rules. I'm bad. Here's what I want. It's not coming. Say, no, You pick those up from your mother. You pick those up from other physicals. You pick those up from those who had already figured out how to deprive themselves before you got here. Don't listen to them. Can't you see how miserable they are? How's it working out for them? How's it working out for them? You're good. You have desires. Source will guide you through the path of least resistance to it. And the most wonderful thing about that is you get to play. You get your hands in the clay. You get your hands in the clay. The artist who paints the painting has a way more delicious relationship with it than the person who goes to the store and buys it. And it doesn't mean that it's not a lovely thing to buy the painting, but to have felt it. The person who creates the poem has a way deeper, richer relationship with it than those of you who enjoyed it and were entertained by it. You are creators. You're creators. You're not observers. You're not regurgitators. You're creators. You are molders. You are evidence gatherers and decipherers and deciders, and you figure it all out because you have the resonance factor within you. You can feel when you're resonant or calibrating to who you really are, and you can feel when you're not. It's just that simple.